What's up, guys? It's Kischardio. I am sitting in front of the 2020 Ducati Streetfighter V4. I am so stoked for this ride. We're going to give this thing a test ride today, and if you look, we're on this amazing coastal California road where we are seriously going to put this thing all the way through the paces. I'm talking about full lean angle, wheelie as much as it'll let us, and just rip. So stand by. We're going to get into the review right now. This is going to be an awesome ride. I borrowed this bike from Marin Speed Shop up in San Rafael, just north of San Francisco, across the Golden Gate Bridge. If you're in the Bay Area and you're interested in a Ducati or a Triumph, go see Charlie up there. The guy is awesome. He got me squared away with this for the ride today. There's a link down to this actual bike at their dealership in the description of this video. Make sure you click that and check it out. Not only you get a chance to look at this beautiful machine, but it also helps me out, helps the channel out, helps the growth of the dealership. So please do click that and take a look. And I don't really think we need to say much more. I'm ready to rip on this thing. Now, this is Highway 1 north of Muir Beach all the way up to Stinson in that direction. I ride this road on my Super Duke all the time. All those pictures of me knee down and whatever that you guys see on my Instagram, that happens on this road. And amazingly, I have this epic machine on this road today. So I am so stoked. We're going to get on it right now. Let's go ahead and get this thing going. Do you hear the deepness of it though? Yeah, it revs out. Yeah, it gets a little higher pitch in the rev, but at idle, it is thrumming right now. It's deep and angry. It actually sounds good. This is one of the first stock bikes I've been on in forever that actually sounds good. Oh, it's so good. It's amazing how good it sounds compared to a regular bike. All right, we got the road. Let's see how we do here. We're gonna push it a little bit. Get some heat up in the tires. Woo-hoo! Oh yeah, baby! So first impressions now that we're actually ripping. Oh my goodness gracious. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you, my expectation for this thing is extremely high, and I don't think it's gonna be high enough. Like, I think this thing is gonna outperform what I think it can do. Holy crap. All right, let me get through a few corners and I'll tell you what I'm thinking about. Wow, great transition through there. Listen to that V4 when you get up in the revs. Oh my God, this thing is so freaking good. This is stock. What? Oh my Lanta, this is good. All right, now that we got a little traffic, actually we got to take this guy. Hang on, I want to tell you about first impressions. Down to first gear. I am going to pass you right here because I know I can do it. Nice and gentle. And the reason I wanted to pass him right there is because there's a little uphill wheelie I want to do here. Right around this corner. Hard to see with the shadow, but right here, let's see what they give us. Wheelie Control kicks in pretty quick. So immediate first impressions now that we have some traffic. The geometry of this bike, meaning the riding position, is absolutely sublime for aggressive riding. If what you're trying to do on your Super Naked is not roll to coffee shops, but instead carve up some corners like this, this is, ready for this? By far the best riding position and bike geometry I've ever felt. Yes, it's a little bit further forward than a lot of the others, but it's not like a super bike, okay? I'm comfortable. I'm sitting up right now. I'm talking to you. The perfect geometry has somehow enabled it to be to the point where you think about turning left or right. Your lower body hints right like mine is right now. Hints left like it is right now. I'm barely even putting anything on the bars. And this thing tips instantaneously, but not in a scary way where it's like you might lose it. It's so telepathic in the cornering. Oh, amazing. And the crazy thing is, in some of those deeper corners, This is this is the V4, not the V4S. So this doesn't have the electronic suspension. And I guess the suspension is dialed in for me right now, but the chassis and the suspension, when I was diving into those corners, was so planted. Nice and smooth through here. Ooh. So, I mean, we don't have to go too far into the video. I can basically tell you right now, the handling on this bike is the best in the super naked world, and I imagine, honestly, it's probably better than, I can't think of another super bike I've been on that's more fun to ride than this, at least handle. Old 360 Modena. There you go, buddy. Doing his old Ferrari world thing. Ah, wow, this thing is good. All right, let's keep pushing it a little bit. This corner is always a little deceptive. It gets tighter. But this bike is so engineered for perfection through corners. It's like that corner, if I took that fast on my Super Duke, would be a what's up, buddy? He gave me a little thumbs up. If I took that corner that fast on my Super Duke, I'd be clenching, terrified, because that bike is so hard to maneuver into a corner. Like I was saying, this bike just tips in. Other bikes, especially the Super Duke, very tall, narrow bar, you have to muscle it into a corner. You have to yank it and manhandle it. How is this bike so sublime and featherweight in terms of handling, and yet so powerful? And this is the benchmark in handling. Now the question is, when we get to a bit of a better road with a little bit more of a straight, how will this thing do in terms of power? I've got a feeling that's going to be pretty good too, because just riding around like this right now, I can tell you is... So it wants to wheelie late in the rev band, and I can appreciate that. Wow! Oh, this is so good! I don't know if we need to do a full video on this. This is a stock V4. It's not a V4S, and it doesn't have any mods to it. It handles amazingly. The power's there. It's there for 90% of the people that ride this thing. Very few people are going to ride it and be like, I wish it had more. The look is there. The sound is there. The electronics are amazing. I'll show you the electronic suite I was going through before, but holy God, this thing is amazing. Still need to figure out my rev match downshift a little bit and my clutch. It's funny, I actually stalled the bike leaving the dealership and they gave me the look. I was like, don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Brakes are fantastic. You think about braking with your front left, or sorry, your front right hand, just rest the fingers on there and it brings huge power, but it's not bitey. All of BMW's handles, you know, you touch the lever, even when you're trying to be gentle, the thing tries to break your neck. This gives you that power, but it doesn't have any of like the weird like bite that the BMWs do. Now, I appreciate this Accord trying to help me out here, but thank you, appreciate it. All right, so let's see. Oh boy, this thing is so good. What a road to ride this on too. Now, if you're in the market for a super naked, much like I am, and this isn't out of your price category, because it is a tall order. This base bike I think is 20, the S version I think is 24. But if you're in the market for that type of bike, I got news, man. Oh my God, this thing is perfect. I really was afraid that I was going to end up thinking this might be better than my bike today, my Super Duke. And I'm not thinking it anymore. I'm now knowing it. This is the best bike I've ever been on for all around everything. Like this incredible sport riding and not a pain in the ass to get out here. Like, so I rode the V4S, right? The super bike version of this. Hang on, let's eat this corner. Oh God. I rode the V4S, super bike version of this. Oh my God. And that bike was great to ride for 13 seconds, and it was only when I was on a road like this. Upshift's probably early there. That bike was only good to ride when you're in attack mode. I rode this thing over here this morning, had 20 minutes of freeway before I got here, and it was perfect. It was easy to ride in a way that super bikes just don't have. I don't care what anyone says. Super nakeds are the way to go, man, because if I want to go grab a sandwich, I jump on this thing and go. Oh, gaslight. Have I really been hammering that much? Anyways, let's enjoy these last few. I'm not going to worry about that gaslight, but handling is fantastic. Power is fantastic. Brakes are fantastic. Throttle response is so good. It's better than even... All right, let's knee down through here. All the way down, yep. And wheelie out. Give it to me, come on. So if I have any complaint, it's that. I'm in the lowest wheelie control mode right now. And for some reason, it still won't let me wheelie. Like, I want to wheelie, and it'll only give me like a foot or two. Ready? I'll show you right here. That's all it'll give me. It won't give me more than that. The electronics are telling it not to. So if there's anything to complain about, it's only that, the wheelie control out of the box. And I'm sure there's an electronic way to get rid of it, like an up map or something, an ECU flash. But out of the box, it doesn't let you wheelie. Or if it does, I simply haven't figured it out. I'm sure you guys will let me know in the comments. It's just, it's a different level of super naked than anything I've ever been on. Aprilia 210 Factory, the next closest thing to this degree of sport, not even close. Not even close to this. Quick shifter is good. I imagine it might get a little better if you had all the... Let's knee down for a second there. Wow, this thing is just so good. So quick shifter, auto up and down is good. What have we not talked about yet? Because I'll just answer you, it's probably pretty good. What a motor. When you get high up in that RPM range, I think it's north of 12,000 is where I really feel it. I haven't been looking down at the tachometer. Oh my God. Oh, did you see that little wheelie right there? What a machine. There's a little lip right here. Let's send it over, do a little wheelie down the hill here. That's as much as it'll give me. Humongous speed. I'm in first gear, but it feels great. Wow. Stock. All stock. Alright, so let's calm down and just kind of take it easy and talk about this thing. The goal of this bike was to put Ducati back in this super hot growing segment, which was the super naked bike category. They used to have the Streetfighter before this back in like 2008, I think through 2012, I don't know when that bike ended. And then they only had the Ducati Monster. And the Monster S, Monster R. The Monster R was, I love that bike, but it simply wasn't up to the task of an Aprilia 210 Factory or the Super Duke or the MT10 at the time or the S1000R. So as much as I loved it, it was way more expensive than everything else, and it just didn't have things like the quick shifter. It didn't have the electronics. It was underpowered, where they're all doing 180 horsepower, and I think it was at 155. You know, so there was a huge difference. So now that we know, the goal for this bike, this Streetfighter, was to put Ducati back in contention for that best super naked. And it had huge competition, right? The new Super Duke, again, the Aprilia 210 Factory. These bikes are not like walk in the park bikes. They're insane. This bike, in every aspect, handling by far is the one that it's furthest away from anything else in. That just, it'll change your life with how good it is in terms of its handling, how flickable it is, how lightweight it is. But in terms of handling, and in terms of being a complete and perfect package, this bike is miles ahead of the next closest thing. And the amazing thing is, you saw how hard we were just riding. Now I'm, what, 5,500, 6,000 RPM in third gear, 50 miles an hour, just lightweight cruising. Upright, you know, comfortable. My arms are extended, like my head is straight up. Look at this, you know, I gotta look down to see the bike. So anyways, the question is, has Ducati been able to do what it set out to with this bike? Make a super naked that sits at the top. I'm telling you right now, I was just going to take that guy. I'm telling you right now that I'll finish that thought. This is the best bike I've ever been on in my life. This is everything you want and so good at everything you want. It doesn't have the typical V4 heat or the Ducati heat for the exhaust up under the seat. It's extremely comfortable. The seat is comfortable. The brakes work well. There are 2 complaints only, actually 3, and they're small. So go on the good side, right? Everything on the good side. Power, yes. Handling, yes. Brakes, sex appeal, the way it looks, everything about it is all yes, yes, yes. Fantastic. The bad things, these mirrors are absolutely worthless. I've said it about every Ducati. Even that Monster R that I used to want all the time and ride had terrible, I think it had the same mirrors as these. So these mirrors are worthless, but nobody cares because you're not going to keep the stock mirrors on a bike like this. As soon as you get it, you're doing bar ends or you're doing some Rizoma something, and it's going to look amazing. The second thing that I have an issue with that's probably fixable too, I just don't know how, is that even in the lowest setting on Wheelie Control, it won't let me lift the wheel beyond like a foot or 2. Now, again, for 90% of the people that get this, that's probably exactly what they want, you know? They want Wheelie Control to basically save them, and yeah, I mean, if you can keep it on, but I want it to turn off. I'd like to, you know, see what it can do without the Wheelie Control. So that's the other thing, and I want to get past this Accord. I'll tell you what, we're going to take them when we can. And then the third and final thing, so mirrors, Wheelie Control, the third and final thing, and it's obvious, but now this is the reality of this level of performance, is that this thing, this base model, costs $20,000. You know, you want the S model with the electronic suspension and the Marchese forged wheels. I think they're, you know, aluminum forged wheels or whatever they are. That's an additional $4,000, $24,000. But here's the thing that just comes over it all. For my style of riding, for what we just did, you know, shredding a back road like this, there is no better bike I have ever been on in my life, bar none. Nothing else on this level. There's nothing else that gives you that low-end torque, the ability to ride this the way I, you know, want to ride it, the power, the brakes, again, the look, the total package. This bike is it. And there's nothing else. So when you think about 20 or 24 grand, you have to ask yourself, like, are you buying a super naked bargain bike, or are you buying the pinnacle, right? Like the top of the food chain. I'm gonna take this guy here. Oh, it's just so reassuring too. Like on my bike, I would be afraid to take him there because I would be afraid it was gonna be a little choppy in the corner with how stiff I have the suspension. I would be afraid of all this other crap. This is alien in terms of how good it is. We're stealing that spot. Yep. This is not, you know, this is not earthly in terms of how good it is at everything. Super impressed. This bike is next level, and I want to, you know, write a sympathy card to KTM and Aprilia and Yamaha and BMW and all the other guys trying to make the super naked that think that their offering might have a chance. Thank you, buddy. Really appreciate that. Or they think they're going to sell their new bikes, because if they're priced anywhere near this and it isn't an $8,000 price difference, it's not a factor, dude. Your bike is not going to sell because this is the best bike in the world for this type of thing. And that's the amazing thing about it. Like I said, you know, you want to do your grocery run in the morning, it's an upright naked bike. No big deal. You could easily do it. You want to go to the racetrack, we basically just did that on this side road back here. Go for it, man. Oh, what a machine. Anyways, guys, if you're in the Bay Area or you're just a big fan of the Kischardio page, the videos, the reviews, my Instagram, all of that, it would really help me out if you check out the link in the description. It's a tracking link that goes to Marin Speed Shop, where I'm borrowing this bike from. The guys up there are super cool, the whole team. Maya, Charlie, Isa, all of them are really cool people, really cool to work with. It's an environment. It's like a community. They do shop rides where they just want to see people come out, go get some barbecue on a Sunday, hang out, and like actually feel like you can walk into a dealership without somebody jumping down your throat yelling, buy this bike. And that's exactly what it's like. So I'm a huge fan of their vibe and their environment. I'm an even bigger fan, believe it or not, of their products, this Streetfighter and the other bikes that they have there, Ducati and Triumph. And so if you're in the area, if you're thinking about checking out some new bikes, if you even want to just go in and like take a look at some eye candy, which is basically what I do, definitely click the link in the description. It helps me out a bunch. It helps them out a bunch. It would mean a ton to me, and you know, I just really appreciate all the help and support that you guys have done. So please do check that out. The amazing thing about each gear is just how much there is to it. There's so much rev within each gear. You know, it looks like it redlines at 14,500. And the way I was riding it and having fun riding it, I was mostly under 11,000 or 12,000, and I was getting good power out of it. I was getting some light lift out of corners, some corner exit wheelie stuff. I was accelerating hard. It was only when I had the massive straights did I get north of that 12,000 RPM, really. Maybe I did. I'll have to watch this video. But in that moment, that extra burst of power is up there, you know? It doesn't fall off. It doesn't die on you. There's way more up there. It's more. It's more than you've already had, and that's where you get the warp speed feeling. That's where this feels faster than everything else. So you might get on it, twist your wrist a little bit, and then, you know, get scared and upshift at 11,000 RPM because it's loud and your bike redlines at 11,000 or whatever. But if you were doing that, you wouldn't be tapping this V4 correctly. The way to do it correctly is to twist this thing all the way through the 14,500 redline, because up there is where you actually see what this thing differentiates itself. Like, how does this thing act differently? And I've heard a lot of talk that the thing is electronically limited in the first 3 gears. Like, you can't get all of its potential. And again, and I don't mean this to sound like a dick, but I'll be honest with a lot of you guys, 90% of you do not need or want that power. Like, it is a very small demographic of people that actually want that. I personally didn't need it at all in the first, you know, 3 gears when we were on that twisty road. I might want it on some other roads for sure. In fact, I know I do, because I was on a few other roads on the way here, and I knew I wanted it. I couldn't get it, but I did want it. But again, the demographic, not the demographic, the small portion of buyers for this bike that actually want that will easily flash the ECU, unlock the electronics, because they're going to be living at super roads that need that power, or that they can use that power at, or racetracks that they can use that power at, or they're just mentally ill and they want to use that power. Like, if I got this, I would absolutely unlock it. I have to, because I need that power personally, because I was trying to wheelie it a lot, and a lot of times, you know, it was coming up, but it wasn't changing my life in the lower RPM. Now, the other thing I want to talk about just quickly is the styling. When they released the prototype of this thing, I was all about it. I loved, like, that prototype kind of camouflage paint. I knew that wasn't going to make it to production, but the other thing that I really loved was the headlight daytime running lamp, that DRL, was not one piece. It wasn't the unibrow. It was the dark, angry eyebrows that the V4 itself does. The V4 has itself, the Superbike. And I was in love with that look. This thing just looks so mean. And that was the really, I mean, it's not like that was a deal breaker for me, but when this came out and they took away that split, like, angry look, and it looked more like the giant unibrow thing, it kind of lost me on styling. And I mean, the rear section, the single side swing arm, the undercut exhaust, underbelly, and okay, nice, dude. Okay, so anyway, now the single side swing arm, the rear tail section, the undercut exhaust, that is best in the motorcycle world. Okay, there's no other style that looks that good, in my opinion. That is fantastic. So the styling on the back of this bike, from the midsection back, fantastic. And I mean, in the front, it's honestly really grown on me here in person too. It was just in pictures where I didn't love it. Rush hour traffic. So I'll let you guys in on a little secret, because it looks like we're not going to get to do it again. When I was taking this thing out to the twisty road, when I first got on it, I was on this highway, and there was nobody out here on it with me. It was just me. And this thing easily chugged its way up to 150 miles an hour, when I honestly, I won't say I didn't mean to. I meant to do it, but I wasn't like, come on, give it to me, give it. It literally was just like, hey, okay, you showed me you want to go fast, I'm going to take you to the moon. It's just a fantastic machine. It blew my mind today. It's weird to say I've been on the best bike in the world today, because that's what today is, but it is true to say that, right? This is the best bike I've ever been on, bar none. Out of the 40-something, 50-something bikes I've been on, whatever the count is, this is the most fun bike I've ever been on. Well, actually, I think it would be. I would need more time to really have fun on it because I had a blast on it, but I was very hungry today. I was very aggressive, and I rode it that way all the time. I didn't let it, you know, just kind of giggle and have fun, but I'm sure you could do that. Anyways, I don't think we're going to get a chance to go super fast with all this congestion, but I will vow to at least accelerate pretty hard a few times. Maybe now. You see it start wheeling up there around 12 or 13. What an awesome machine. Oh, that was great. One of the things I really like about it is that the exhaust seems like it opens up north of 10,000 RPM. So if you're really going for it, the bike is like, hey, you know, we can see you're going for it. Enjoy the noise. And it gives you a little bit more. Let's see what we can get. I think we might get it opened up here. What a machine. So from a power perspective, tremendous. Honestly, I can't think of a single bad thing to say about it. Every single thing about it is fantastic. The only issue, again, the wheelie control, the mirrors, and the price. But, you know, the mirrors you don't care about, you fix that immediately. The wheelie control gets unlocked, and the price is the price you want to pay, the price you have to pay if you want to be playing at this level. Like, if you want to be on the best bike in the world, which I'm calling this, you got to pay that price.
All right, so let's talk about some formal scoring for the Ducati Streetfighter. From a fit, finish perspective and quality, it's very well made. Everything feels well made. It looks great. It gets a 9.5 out of 10. From an equipment and features perspective, the bike comes loaded with an electronic suite that helps you ride. It has Pirelli stock. It's extremely well made. And again, in this category, we're going 9.5 out of 10. In terms of flexibility, this bike is basically the pinnacle. You can do anything on it, whether it's the casual ride, the track day, or an aggressive day out in the twisties like we just did today. Flexibility is really a measurement of how much you can do on one bike. Is it just a cruiser, just a track bike? This bike is the kind of epitome of being able to do it all. And in this category, again, it gets a 9.5 out of 10. From a price perspective, the bike costs $20,000, and the way we've been doing price scoring is based against a fixed scale. So in this category, it gets a 5 out of 10. Now, price is not necessarily the same as value. I think this bike is one of those instances where even though it's a premium price, it's par for the Hypernaked category, and it delivers value that measures up to that price. Fun to ride factor is massive on this bike, and in this category, it gets a 10 out of 10 possible points. The only other bike that I've given a 10 out of 10 is the Aprilia Tuono Factory, and this bike is better to ride than that bike is. And then finally, the last category is presence and cool factor. This bike has gobs of cool factor, gobs of presence. I think the only way it could get any possibly cooler than this bike is if you had the S model. And so in this category, we're going 9.5 out of 10 again. Add all those categories together and you get 53 points out of 60 total possible points, which puts the bike here as compared to every other bike we've ridden and tested on the channel, and here as compared to all of the other naked bikes and hyper-naked bikes that it competes with. It's at 53, with the next closest competitor being at 49.5, which is the KTM Super Duke. This thing is head and shoulders above the competition. It blew me away. I loved riding it. I've got no reservation about saying I think it's the best bike out right now, and I got to tip the cap to Ducati because I thought the XC Evo S was amazing, the Monster R, the V4S was good for that type of bike, but this is really a culmination of just a lot of consistent, awesome motorcycles in the last few years. And also huge thanks to Marin Speed Shop for lending me the bike to actually go out and make this video. Those guys are awesome up there. We're trying to make sure that we can do more videos like this with other Ducati and Triumph motorcycles going forward. So please do click the link in the description. Check out what they've got on their showroom floor. If you're interested in going to see what they've got, don't hesitate to stop by and see Charlie. He can get you all squared away. Anyways, guys, that was an awesome ride for me to do. If you liked the video, please subscribe. Make sure you've got the notification bell on. And if you think somebody else needs to see this video, go ahead and share it around to them. We're going to keep trying to do videos like this, like I said, so make sure you're on board. And until I see you guys in the next one.